Uh-oh.
Let's see here. I'm going to disable you and then re-enable. Oh, boy. Okay. GM, we're not going to go to GameSpot because it broke, and I'd have to reset it. Well, let me see if the thing is still here. Yeah, it said there was an error.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's just how it's going to be. All right. Fade into black. All right. We are going live in 5, 4, 3.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for November 13th, 2024. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, fans should expect a new PlayStation showcase before the end of the year. And does Phil Spencer think the next Halo could release on PlayStation 5? We'll answer both of those and more. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Lucy James, everybody. Lucy, how are you feeling?
Broadly fine. In spite of factors, you know.
Yeah, we're hanging in there, right?
Yeah, hanging in there. I've gone through a very sad couple of weeks, not to bring the tone down at the beginning of the show, but it's been a very emotionally fraught couple of weeks over here in James Towers. And so on the other side of it, kind of excited to be hanging out with you guys again and looking forward to TGAs and seeing my pals in person and, you know,
we got
getting through it.
We have some light, some light at the end of the tunnel, right? We get to do some fun stuff still. So
I thought you were about to say we have some light things going on at the Game Awards, and I was like, Jeff, that could not be further from the truth. We have so much going on.
We're pretty busy, yeah. But we definitely have reasons to things that can distract us from all this other stuff for sure. Yeah, but it's like you said, been rough, but I whenever we get to do this show, I always feel a little bit better. So you're right. That's nice. And there's some video game news to talk about at the very least. So
there is a lot of video game news to talk about, which is weird because it feels like there was sort of a bit of a fallow period of not really that much big shit happening.
Yeah, we do the Wednesday show together, and for a while there, it's like, oh yeah, that's usually when a lot of the news was happening. And then these past couple of months, it was, I think, a lot of these companies were kind of, I don't know, it seems like they were taking a break from announcing stuff and having things to talk about, and now it does feel like maybe we're back getting into the holidays. And PlayStation 5 Pro is here, and Nintendo's got to start making moves, and an election is over, so it feels like these
Xbox is talking about shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Phil Spencer's doing interviews again. So yeah, it's there are things are happening. So
things are happening.
We'll get into all of that. First, let's explain what we do here, though. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with that first story I alluded to. This is from Ethan Gotcha, Kotaku. Is Sony teasing a December PlayStation showcase in its latest PS5 ad? That's definitely some of the things that some fans are talking about on places like Reddit. Let's read what Ethan wrote here. Sony released a new Play Has No Limits ad for PlayStation 5 on Tuesday to mark 4 years since its 2020 launch of the PS5. No one would have thought twice about it, except that fans spotted a seemingly innocent but potentially telling split-second reference to a December date. Could Sony have an 11th hour PlayStation showcase planned to coincide with this 30th anniversary? The discovery was shared on Reddit and points to the 47-second mark in a YouTube video that has this ad. A train station schedule appears with the numbers 3/12 and then 2024 as the inbound column turns into PlayStation symbols. That'll be this 3rd of December. There, not March 12th. The inbound columns turn to the PlayStation symbols. Some fans wonder if it meant a hint at a potential December 3rd, 2024 event, perhaps one last State of Play or bigger live stream event pointing to what's ahead for the PS5. It's a reach, but there are a couple of things that make it feel within the realm of possibility. First, commenters have noted that there is precedent for Sony holding December events. Once upon a time, during the PS4 generation, it hosted fan-oriented PlayStation Experience events. Those were fun. I went to a couple. That was a good time. And while those were retired many years ago at this point, Sony did hold a special December State of Play in 2019 to mark the 25th anniversary of PlayStation. It included announcements of Resident Evil 3 Remake, Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, and a Ghost of Tsushima tease. This December, meanwhile, marks the 30th anniversary. So while it's a reach, this is kind of why people are, Lucy, are coming to this, maybe the possibility that this could be happening. Now, I did look into this, but kind of I'll get your first blush at this. Does that sound reasonable, or does it sound like maybe people are kind of getting some hopium going?
Feel a little hopium. It feels to me like maybe PlayStation. I don't know. It feels weird to do it so close to the Game Awards.
Right. That is 2019 is when they're saying the last time something like this happened. The Game Awards were there, but the Game Awards is bigger than ever, and is sort of a known factor, a much more known factor at this point, where it's like if you have something to talk about, it's right there, and it's going to have just as many views and be able to speak to audiences actually beyond what even your PlayStation Directs can do. PlayStation State of Plays, I should say, or PlayStation Showcase. Now, when I say PlayStation State of Play or Showcase, I always forget that a lot of
just
people
interchangeable.
Yeah, people. But really, the State of Plays are the smaller direct-like things, and then they've done showcases that are supposed to be, in many people's estimation, closer to something like the big E3 blowouts that has all this different stuff in there. But a lot of times it does get used interchangeably.
I was trying to think what else they could do. I mean, 30th anniversary. They announced that concert thing for next year. We already had a reveal for Ghost of Yotei. I mean,
I think it's worth thinking about what else it could be, because when I did ask about this, a couple sources were very close to sure, but not 100%, but close to sure that this is not a State of Play or a PlayStation Showcase.
This feels like the time to do, for 30th anniversary, this feels like the time to do a celebration, something or other. Infographics. This is how many times the cross button has been pressed in the last 30 years or some shit.
A series of bigger blog posts. Something along those lines.
We're still working on PSVR 2.
Right.
Promise.
And so I wouldn't expect a showcase, wouldn't expect a State of Play. If those things were happening, these people probably would have heard about it. So this probably takes the form of we will maybe have some Twitter announcements, a YouTube video that talks about the history of PlayStation. Merch. Exactly. Yeah, that sounds right to me. They have already celebrated the 30th anniversary in some ways with the PS5 special edition that they sold and things like that, and they had a special controller, the gray paint on the PlayStation 5 products that I was so excited about and then couldn't get.
You tried?
Oh, I definitely tried. I was there, and then I got in the queue and the virtual queue thing, and it was like, we're gonna place you in randomly, and it's like I don't think this is random.
That's not.
Yeah. So I would like to see a State of Play. I would like to see a showcase from PlayStation. I think a lot of PlayStation 5 owners are at a point where it's like, okay, we've had a couple of things where they would stop and do a State of Play, and they announced Ghost of Yotei. That did happen, and that was nice, but it also feels like there's a lot of studios inside of PlayStation who we don't know what they're working on, and they're probably pretty close to being ready to at least show something, right? Sony Santa Monica, things like that. So if it's not in December, Lucy, do we get a showcase earlier maybe a State of Play earlier next year, or maybe do we get something close to an E3 style showcase next summer?
I wonder. I mean, at this point, PlayStation desperately needs stuff on the calendar, and I think the best way to do that would be this big, all-out showcase, like bring back the E3 2015 style of showcase. That one, the one that will forever go down in history. I think PlayStation kind of needs that moment. I think gaming in general needs that moment. Like you've got the launch of the PS5 Pro, that's going fine, but for a lot of people like me who are on the fence about getting one, it's like, well,
Same.
what games am I getting this for? You know, if you are giving me
games especially because
exactly. Oh no, because everything else I'm on PC.
Yeah, right. I'm looking at Monster Hunter and be like, oh yeah, I'm sure that's going to run better on PS5 Pro. Playing that on PC, thank you.
And that's the thing where I'm like, I want to be excited about PlayStation exclusive so I can reinvest in the PlayStation ecosystem. And other than Ghost, what we got for 2025 and beyond, you know, like there's nothing really to be excited about other than, hey, we know that Santa Monica is working on something. We know that Bend is working on something. We know that, like, you know, all the studios that are under the stable are working on something, but what?
Right.
So,
we have, like Blue Point, right? They, we've known for a while that they're working on a new IP, and it's probably a big single player thing. That's been years since they put out, they did.
Shadow was, and
they,
Demon Souls was 2020. Shadow
right.
was 18, I think, or 17.
Right.
So yeah, there's been.
They probably had something working in parallel alongside Demon Souls. So we're talking 4 or 5 years of development. So I don't know if that means a game is ready, but maybe ready to show here pretty soon. Guerrilla, we know that Guerrilla actually is busy. Like last that we heard, is busy working on the multiplayer Horizon game. So that's going to probably be in a weird spot because of all the live service problems and the fact that that's probably going to take a long time itself. Housemark, that they, they'll probably have something new. They'll probably have Returnal 2 to talk about at some point, something along those lines. Insomniac, we get what's happening there. But then Sony Santa Monica, Cory Barlog's game is supposed to be very deep into development. That's another one that feels like they could talk about. Now, I get why they haven't made these promises, where it's because it's we're at a point in game development where these games take so long that stopping to make an asset for a revealed trailer, for a demo, for something to play at a showcase, show floor, if you show up at something like that, that takes a lot of effort and resources away from the main project. And so wait until you're really ready and then just have something that is easier to produce at that point because you have a game that is mostly finished. It seems like that's the strategy that Sony is going with at the moment. I get that, and I think that's probably the right choice. But people, I think, even despite Ghost of Yotei getting announced, feeling a little bit antsy about the state of PlayStation first party, especially coming off of Concord and all the promises of what was going to happen with live service. It's like, is the reason that so many of these studios that the people have come to rely on to deliver these massive cinematic experiences, is it because they got caught up in this distraction that turned out to be live service games?
Yeah, I mean, who's to say there could be a multiple cancelled project? I mean, because what is it, like Sony greenlit 12 or something of them, and then
so the number ballooned up to 12 at some point, and then it's definitely not there anymore.
And so I don't know, but also we talk about this all the time. Games take longer to make; they're more expensive than ever. The team sizes are out of control.
Right.
I'm just like this generation has been so weird. For all the hype that we had going into this generation, I don't think we were really. I mean, I think Sean Layden was, but I don't think we were as consumers prepared for just the gap between releases in such a way. Like there are always, of course, amazing games coming out every single day. Steam is absolutely full of them, but those big tentpole releases, I don't think we were, because and also obviously COVID impacted a lot. So this has just been a very weird generation, and I'm hoping for the latter half of it we sort of get back on track and have those big games to not justify having a machine, but to enjoy on our little boxes underneath our TVs.
Yeah, it is strange just to look at the trajectory of it all. Of PS3. We got several Uncharted games from Naughty Dog, and then Last of Us, right? And then on PS4 we got Uncharted 4 and Last of Us Part 2, and then some relatively big expansions for games like that.
Ghost.
Yeah, and
Ghost
then,
was PS4. Yeah.
yeah, and then this generation, like for like it was like sticking with Naughty Dog, it was like nothing original so far, and we might get to the end of this generation, maybe get one thing from them, and that level of output, while it's like, okay, we get it, the games are getting bigger, you're right, I don't think we were mentally prepared for it would be that drastic that fast. From one generation to the next, we are getting such a reduced return on the investment we are making into the console from these studios that just 2 generations ago were producing 3 to 5 games in one generation and 3 games in one franchise one generation, and it's like that felt like the sweet spot. And because games have gotten so big and require so many people now, that's just impossible. But it's okay, how do we return to that a little bit? And I think some studios, Insomniac, have clearly been able to make that work for the most part. But it's not been a thing for everybody.
Yep.
All right, let's keep moving here. Just a quick PSA. Sony is ending adapter that makes PSVR work on PS5. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Sony Interactive Entertainment has confirmed that it will soon stop supplying a PlayStation 5 adapter that allows the original PlayStation VR headset to work on the console. In order for PS5 owners to get the original PSVR headset to work on the console, they need to request a free adapter for the PlayStation camera, which is the only method of support since PS5's HD camera does not support the old headset. I have one of these things. I might have to request another one because I have no idea where it is. And there's just a couple of PSVR games that, one, I want to replay, but some that I never played and I always think about going back. There's this one where you hold the PlayStation DualShock 4 or whatever it is, and you can see it in the game, but as you press the buttons, it's like what you see is like a handcuffs wrapped around you, and as you press the buttons, you have different interactions with the handcuffs that are on you, and it's like you can try to figure out ways to release your hands from this contraption. And I'm like, I now always wanted to play that, and I never did. So I'm like, I don't want to make this happen, but I'm not taking this as a larger sign, Lucy, that Sony is leaving behind VR in general, but this is also like the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, this was going to happen eventually, and also PSVR 2 is not some major pillar for Sony at the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly doesn't feel that way. I might be misremembering, but I don't remember the last time we had a big showcase that featured PSVR 2. There's obviously the closure of the London studio. VR in general, kind of a weird spot. Meta's the only real person in the game at the moment. At least, I mean, in recent, that's bias. I mean, recency bias with Batman, but I mean,
Apple did the what, I forget what the headset's even called now, and that thing's done.
But did they? Yeah, is it done? Are they finished with that?
I mean, it sounds like Eric, Apple was yeah, it sounds done. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, you can't charge $3,000.
Vision Pro. Thank you, Dan.
Vision, yeah, you can't sound $3,000 for a bloody headset, and then wonder why no one buys it.
Yep. It's clearly it was just and it doesn't sound like they're going to necessarily follow it up quickly with something that is more consumer friendly in terms of price. So yeah. But real quick, Dr. Ryan, thank you. The game I was talking about was called Static. He says it rules. I tried it at I demoed it at some event, and I was always meant to play it. I thought the developers had something very cool. So maybe I'll get that up and running. We keep talking about doing a new rodeo, and I would like to break that out. I never finished Astro for VR, Astro's Escape or whatever it's called.
Did you ever play the Resident Evil 7 VR demo?
I'm a coward.
No one tell him. Please play it.
That sounds like literally the rescue mission. Thank you. That sounds like literally the scariest thing in the world. I would be.
Well, it's just because when you said that you were handcuffed, it's what reminded me.
Oh, okay. So that's great. That's what I would want to have happen in that situation. I should do that. I know people really swear by Resident Evil 7 in VR. I remember Mark McDonald over at 8.4 talking about it and being like, I would play it, would turn off all the lights, and it would be nighttime and playing. I'm like, that just sounds petrifying to me. John
Luke played the whole thing in VR. But no, this was I think a standalone demo. I think it was called. Was it Kitchen One? I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, I remember we had a guy who used to work with us. He went and Tam filmed him, and he basically just went like the whole time
Yeah.
because this is not having it.
I should put on a heart monitor and do that, and that could be.
Oh
fun,
my god,
yeah.
you should,
Yeah.
or even just like an Apple Watch if you
Yeah.
have one. I'm like heaving my way through Batman because I have a really
Right.
bad VR tolerance.
But you're still trying to do it though.
Yeah, I'm doing like 10 minutes at a go. So I stop before I get like
Right.
I get a little bit uneven, but then
But it's worth it because you're having fun with the game.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That's one of the things we want to do in the rodeo. I'm gonna
It's like
make that happen.
it's a fucking Batman game. It's like they nailed it.
Yep. Maybe we can fit it in sometime this week because I want to get in the Batman costume and play it.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and it's like my first experience. Other than like the only thing I can play in VR is Beat Saber, so it's nice to.
Sure. Okay. That Beat Saber's very good though. All right, let's kind of in the Sony section here. Secret Level creator says he hopes the Concord episode will show the potential the story had. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. The creator of Prime Video's upcoming video game anthology, Secret Level, says he hopes the Concord episode will show the potential that the game had. Secret Level, which was announced during Gamescom's opening night live presentation this year, is a new adult animated anthology series featuring original stories set within worlds of various video game franchises. There are 15 episodes in total, including stories set in the worlds of such video games as Pac-Man, Armored Core, Mega Man, Spelunky, The Outer Worlds 2, Sifu, Unreal Tournament, and Exodus. Now, in an interview with Rolling Stone, the series creator, Tim Miller, said there were never any plans to remove the Concord episode following the game's disastrous launch and Sony's decision to remove it from sale after just 11 days. Miller, who directed Deadpool and Terminator, Dark Fate, and Love, Death, and Robots, said that during the course of the 3 years he spent working on the series, he enjoyed a healthy relationship with the team at Concord developer Firewalk and feels bad that their efforts ended badly. He basically goes on, just like said, they were very nice to work with, and he just wants to do right by them.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to Google which one was Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah, which one is that one?
The bad one. I mean, the really bad one. It's the one with 2019. The one with
not Christian Bale, right?
No, Sarah Connor comes back.
Right.
It has the weird deep faked Ed Furlong.
Oh, right. Jesus. Listen, I think he did fine on Deadpool, but I think Secret Level looks good. I think it looks very interesting. I will watch. Excuse me. I'll watch some of this. I don't know if I'll watch all 15 episodes. I don't even know if I'll watch the Concord one. Part of me feels morbidly curious to watch that, so I probably will. But yeah. I mean, what choice they have? They made this episode. They're not gonna not air it and like do right by the people that worked on the television show. So yeah, do you think we get like on the other side of this and maybe not like right away, but maybe a few years removed and people feel like, man, I wish we would have like given Concord a chance. Like people are going to, that could become a thing people say, right?
There'll be a YouTube video essay.
Yeah.
Giving Concord a second chance or like, the decline of Concord or something. I mean, I don't know, like maybe with the rose tinted goggles on it, and it's like I just don't think Concord's coming back. Like Firewalk is gone.
Yeah,
I really don't see how much impact Secret Level can have on reigniting and bringing that.
Right. It won't.
However, I think it's good that they are still airing it, and I think it's like you said, it's less like a this is what you could have had. It's more just like a hey, here's something that we thought was really cool. Multiple people worked for multiple years on. You should still be able to watch it because like that. What was it? The Coyote versus Acme movie that Warner Brothers just shelved, and like Batgirl or Batwoman, whichever one, like
Batgirl, I think,
yeah. And so I would rather we got the chance to watch something rather than it just like live in a vault somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's like these episodes were never gonna like go out to the theater, so it was never like this considered like the box office versus a tax break if we just put it on a shelf somewhere. But yeah, maybe there's a chance it's like, oh, that would be weird. We don't want to be associated with failure, and it's like I'm glad they're not going that route. Like,
I am too.
I will show up at least for the first episode, and then I'll probably like watch the Mega Man stuff and things that might be appeal to me.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on what they do with them, I guess. Like, I'm not really interested in Pac-Man, but I'll watch it. So maybe they'll do something cool with it.
All right.
Beanie.
Going to take a quick break. When we come back, Stellar Blade's coming to PC. Nintendo talked about more 2D Zelda. We'll talk about all that after this.
Hi, Beanie.
All right. Thanks for hanging with us. Let's get back into it. Stellar Blade is coming to PC in 2025. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Shift Up expects to release a PC version of Stellar Blade in 2025. The company said in its Q3 2024 earnings report. We're aiming for a 2025 release, Shift Up said in response to a question about when a PC version of Stellar Blade will come out. Given recent trends like Steam's growing presence in the AAA games market and the global success of Black Myth Wukong, we are expecting the PC version to perform even better than the console version. Steam's
growing presence in the AAA games market.
That's a weird one, huh?
All right.
Like finally, Steam's living up to the name of Stellar Blade. They're finally good enough for us. Okay, whatever. Stellar Blade is it came and it went a little bit. I think they definitely made some of a splash. It did not make a Black Myth Wukong style splash. That was so much bigger than that, actually. But I think Stellar Blade could do very well on PC. Are people still going to care when it comes to PC in 2025?
Will it have mod support?
Okay, so yes. So you're suggesting that the hornies out there will.
No, I think no. It'll be one of those games where it just like people will have heard word of mouth for it and just get it. And right. I think it'll probably do very, very well on PC.
I agree. I think it's gonna do. It probably won't match Black Myth Wukong numbers, but it'll do very well. I started on PS5. I enjoyed it as an action game. I didn't play too much of it, and now I'm at the point where it's like, I think I will just wait for it to be on PC, and I'll play it there, or play it on the Steam Deck. Hopefully it runs well on that, and that would be ideal.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. Well, are you wanting to play that in public, though?
Well, I have dark corners in my home where I can play it, so, yeah.
I don't like the sound of that.
Not
like
that dark.
Why do you say that? I've got dark
it's a shame. Like, so I can take my shame and not be seen by the world is all I mean.
Right. The shame cupboard.
Yes, the shame cupboard. That's where Jeff Grubb lives, that's for sure. All right, Nintendo devs still want to make more 2D Zeldas. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Sorry, Dan's like, I stay in the dark corners of Grubb's home. It's nice there. Yeah, I have nice dark corners, let's be clear. All right, Ethan writes, despite the phenomenal success of both The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, developers at Nintendo still have a special love for the 2D style games from the series' past. In fact, this year's top-down Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, may have convinced them that there are still new ideas worth exploring in future 2D Zelda games. Nintendo producer Eiji Aonuma helped oversee Zelda Echoes of Wisdom's development in partnership with outside studio Grezzo. He recently told the BBC that it can feel impossible to do anything new with the 2D Zelda format, but they ultimately found a way in the 2024 spinoff about Zelda cloning objects to solve puzzles. And so this game made me realize that there's still a lot of possibility for these top-down Zelda games as well, Aonuma said. While nothing is set in stone, it sounds like the team hopes they can continue a dual approach to developing Zelda games in the future. And then the quote continues, and so we will also have those dynamic 3D Zeldas as well, he told the BBC. But in addition to that, we're also hoping that we can continue with these 2D top-down Zeldas. Lucy, this is exactly the kind of thing I want to hear as someone that always enjoyed having, Nintendo had their home console and their portable console. And this gave them multiple avenues to be like, here's the big game, and then here's a smaller game for $30 to $40. Now, that's not the way it works now. It is, hey, here's Echoes of Wisdom, and that's also $60. But that is personally something I'm willing to accept if it means we keep getting these sort of different tiers of games in franchises going forward. And I wish it's something that, we talked about Sony, and I think I look over at Microsoft as well, and a lot of other publishers. I kind of wish they could do this as well of, yes, you're going to have your big games that you want to sell north of 5 million, and in Nintendo's case with Zelda, north of 25 million copies. But let's just kind of keep things interesting and spice things up every couple of years with something smaller, something that is supposed to be contained, supposed to look smaller, 2D. It looks cheaper, and looks like it was probably much more affordable to make. and yet there's still something to it. You put a lot of effort into it, and it can live side by side with those bigger games. I really appreciate this. How about you?
Me too. I think Nintendo's, just it has such an insanely huge install base, and like they know that they have all of those pockets of fans who want something a little different, who will come out and will buy those games. And I think it's really great that they're still supporting them. Like, say what you want about Nintendo and their community and everything, but when it comes to games, as long as it's got the fun factor, they will make it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's, this is always why Sony struggled when it had its handhelds. It tried to have the console games just on a handheld. So, here's Uncharted Golden Abyss or whatever it was called.
Oh,
and,
God, yeah.
And it's like, so, some people liked it, but it's like, it always felt like, hey, this was made by a team.
Well, it feels like a compromise. It feels like the compromised version of the game that you want. And that's the problem with putting a lot of third party on Switch, because again, it's the worst way to play the game because of technical limitations. However, when you make something for that console specifically that just works with the key, what do you call it? I've only had one coffee. The key features of the handheld console that you're designing it for, it is going to be a better experience for everyone, especially when it's full of nostalgia. Jelly Bean, what is going on here?
Is Jelly Bean purring? Because I can hear it. That's...
Oh, dude, you hear that?
Yeah, normally you can't. Yeah. Normally purrs are hard to hear on microphones, but Jelly Bean's just right there. Hey, kitty. Hello, kitty cat.
Yeah, there you go. Some ASMR.
Big cat guy. Love cats. Yeah, I am glad to hear them be like, hey, this 2D Zelda from Grezzo worked great. We want to do more of that.
We didn't forget about you.
Yes.
That's what they're doing.
And I want to make sure that we they did that 2D Zelda Metroid Dread not too long ago. It's like, let's just keep making more of those. And I part of me hopes it's like, okay, so you're doing this with franchises in which you do have the big 3D games as well. Is that where this is going to happen? Or is there a possibility that some franchises that maybe you think don't make sense to spend major money on to make a big new 3D blockbuster version of, could we just get the smaller 2D? Could there be a new
Star Fox?
Yeah, right. Could there Star Fox that just looks like it's a N64 sequel or something like that, or a Punch-Out game where it's like, Punch-Out can only be so big. I don't want some cinematic story mode in there to make it feel bigger or whatever. And listen, I thought the Wii one was very good. Next Level did excellent work on there with the animation, but it doesn't need to be much more than that. Could we just get that again and you sort of position that as, here's the scrappy little Punch-Out sequel? I hope they can get to that point, but I think we've seen up to this point, it's very difficult to allocate those resources to across the board to all these other franchises. They are kind of picking and choosing their battles, and that's true across this industry.
Yeah, and I think, they have a real embarrassment of riches when it comes to franchises that they can pick from. And Nintendo, if you look at Super Mario Brothers Wonder, the way that they approach making that game, just letting everyone just throw ideas out and trying to foster new and younger
talent over there.
Generations of talent. Yeah, you got to wonder, there'll be some upstart at Nintendo who goes, hey, remember that franchise that we forgot? I've got an idea. And I hope that Nintendo's in a place where they would, again, foster and encourage that kind of stuff.
Yep. And there was definitely talk in one of the recent financial reports of, hey, we are looking to work with more smaller third-party studios to expand expand the people that work with our IP. And I don't know if that's what that's actually going to end up looking like, but I hope that can be more stuff like what Grezzo is doing with Zelda.
Yeah.
All right, is that what that's what I have from Nintendo. So then let's get to these Xbox stories. Xbox is building a handheld, but it's very likely years away, says boss. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has confirmed that Microsoft is working on a handheld gaming prototype, but claimed that any potential device is still years away. Microsoft's gaming CEO has repeatedly hinted that it could create its own Steam Deck-style Xbox device, and in a new interview with Bloomberg, the exec said that the expectation is that we would do something in the category. Saying that the expectation within Microsoft is that they would do something. Microsoft is working on prototypes and considering what it might do, Spencer confirmed, and he's asking his hardware team to analyze the market and develop its vision based on what it learns. any device is a few years out, he said. In the near term, Xbox will focus on making its apps work better on existing portable devices and partnering with hardware manufacturers to make sure their products sync, he added. I think, if in the meantime, if you could just make Windows better on handhelds, that is always going to be my hang up with using stuff like the Roger Ally, which I'll always say, once you're in the game, it's great. I really despise using Windows on that thing, but it's
they said that SteamOS is coming to the Roger.
Yeah,
and
it
I'm
is.
like, cannot be sooner. Like I'm dying for that. But
in the meantime, it's I think what's happening here, Lucy, is that they are trying to make sure that they get everything aligned with like what the next Xbox could be, with what their hardware strategy is going to be, because right now, as they're standing here, I think it's very easy for people to go, hey, just take the Xbox One S, or excuse me, Xbox Series S, and put that in a handheld. And that is probably not viable even in the next two-ish years, three-ish years, to shrink down that x86 system on a chip and put it in a handheld, make it cost effective, and make a battery that can run for longer than a half an hour. So we have heard, like, they through those leaked documents as part of the acquisition of Activision, that they were looking at the potential of using something like ARM processors, which is what we have in phones and iPhones, and now Apple switched to it for Apple Silicon, where it's like all the M chips are all ARM-based processors. And that stuff is much more energy efficient, and it's and it can be just as powerful, if not even more powerful now. So the problem there is that Microsoft is traditionally putting out games that run on x86 architecture, which is like basically just PC architecture. And you have your library of games. They have several services that just run on this stuff. So they're probably like, can we make a shift to ARM? Or do we just wait until x86 is more efficient? Wait for Intel to kind of, not Intel, but AMD. Well, Intel and AMD in conjunction with one another to get their shit together, so that that stuff is much more energy efficient, and then just kind of hope for the best at that point. I think that their timeline is probably too ambitious. I know he talks about it being years off, but I think that means like something by like 2026, right? Like 2 years off is what I think that means. What do you think?
I mean, 2026 seems to be. Oh God, yeah. AMD just laid off 4% of its employees yesterday. So
yeah.
Well, Jesus. Oh my God, beans. Come on. Yeah, no, it feels ambitious, but it also feels like if you wait any longer, you're just losing that market because of Steam Deck and ROG Ally and everything. And so it yeah. And also, we don't know what's going to happen with things like tariffs and importing and the economy. Yeah. So
I think Nintendo was smart to not announce anything with the Switch 2 until after the election. They were
that was a real Queen's dying, let's not announce Tears of the Kingdom moment there.
Right. It's like, the uncertainty now is real for that kind of stuff. So I think that 2026 is going to be a big Xbox year where they will try to like reset what their hardware stack looks like, but that's not a lot of time between today and then if they're still kind of analyzing what they're going to do with their handheld hardware. My guess here is they've been analyzing it for a while and they do have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. And and if they can like launch a big new super powerful Xbox console that that's more open than ever, there's those rumors you can install Steam on the next Xbox, things like that. If they have something like that ready to go in 2026 to sort of uncouple themselves from the generational reset that Sony's been on, so that they're no longer like side by side, because we think the next Sony generation probably starts in like 2028ish. Okay, that's great, but then at that same time, as a sort of the other pillar next to, instead of you having the Xbox One or Xbox Series S, you would probably want the handheld to go alongside that. It'd be tough to get to that point, but I think that they could probably make it happen, and especially if they get very aggressive about it and they just go full speed ahead into using ARM architecture. The question will be, can they get a translation layer that makes all that stuff that you already own run really well on a device like that? That's nothing's guaranteed there. So that's
Yeah.
probably what's holding them up from thinking, hey, we can have this thing ready to go in a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, they've already dipped their toe in. They had like some kind of deal with the ROG Ally. They had that. Remember, was it the Lenovo Game Pass xCloud machine thing from a few years ago as well? So they're definitely keeping sort of like a presence in the market with strategic partnerships.
Right,
but
when you got the
Logitech's
we got the Roger Ally. You would get the Game Pass. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think they want to be present in this space. They want to have. They want to say, hey, many of these devices you are using Windows still, and I think if they while they are getting this, whatever the Xbox side of things looks like, ready. If they are improving the PC Windows side of it to the point where it's like, okay, we understand what people need from a portable operating system and a portable gaming experience, that would be great. It's just like my issue continues to be, I already know what it looks like. It looks exactly like SteamOS. SteamOS is what I want a portable gaming experience to feel like when I turn on a system. Or a Switch. Switch has had it right for a long time as well. So it's like, okay, yeah, can Microsoft get to that point? Maybe. It's just like, I do think they do need the Xbox side of it, so it's people don't have the expectations that come with having Windows installed on a device, because carry forward all of that history and all of the support there for all the I don't need Photoshop running on this thing.
No. Yeah. And sometimes I'll boot up my ROG Ally and it's just like, oh shit, I don't know. And then you have to reboot it and stuff. And I'm like, what's this? What is this?
It's like gasps, like, oh my God, what's wrong? And it's like, okay,
help me.
Which of these 3 software services do I need to open up to update to get it right? And it's like, oh no, it's the one that's buried that I never remember, the My Acer experience or whatever, or My Asus experience, whatever it's called. So they definitely need to improve that. And I think, for me, the right answer is don't deal with any of that bullshit. Just have an Xbox handheld. And then they're working towards that. We'll see what it looks like. I'm very curious to see if they're able to pull off a transition to ARM. Again, there's no guarantee that they will actually do that, but I think they probably will. So we'll see. Okay, let's see here. The last story I have written down. Xbox chief says no red lines on Xbox games coming to other platforms. This is from My Nintendo News. The head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, told Bloomberg in an interview that he sees no red lines where it comes to bringing major Xbox games to other platforms. This is an upfront change from Spencer, who previously wouldn't be drawn into saying if key Xbox games would come to other platforms. It seems now that nothing is off the table for the Redmond-based company. Spencer also told Bloomberg that the business is much healthier now as the result of cuts and games appearing on other systems, and that they are working on an Xbox-themed handheld that is a few years out. After releasing the first batch of Xbox games for Sony Group Core's PlayStation and Nintendo company's Switch, Spencer is pleased with the result. Microsoft will do more of that, he said, and won't rule out any game in Microsoft stable. I think that's a quote taken from the Bloomberg story. I do not see sort of red lines in our portfolio that say, thou must not, he said. It's too early to make any sort of decision on the next version of Halo, for example. So, okay, let's start there. Lucy James, do you think the next Halo is on a PlayStation?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm at this point.
I think going forward, I wouldn't be surprised if everything comes to PlayStation eventually.
Because I think the way they need to look at it, Lucy, is
maybe timed exclusive, but
yeah, right, maybe. But it's like the way they need to look at it is, what is this going to look like in 10 years? In 10 years, you probably have fully sort of completed the process of turning Xbox into this thing where it's just the games are everywhere. So why delay it? Why sort of, do these little tap dances around what eventually is going to happen? Just accept that that's the way it's going to be and just rip the Band-Aid off. And the Band-Aid would be Halo on PlayStation. Now, that is still going to be a kind of a painful thing for a lot of those fans to have to go through, but whatever. It's it's just a game that other people can play, and I think Microsoft wants you to get used to that idea. And I do think that more now than ever, Microsoft is operating under the belief that third-party stores will become, regulated as such that platform holders will have to allow them onto their stores. So you can get the Microsoft gaming store on Google Play, sure, but in 10, 15 years' time, you will also be able to get the Microsoft store that has Call of Duty and Diablo and all this other stuff on PlayStation. And PlayStation will not be able to take a cut of it because that's the way it's going to work on mobile. And what's the difference? I think Microsoft thinks that's going to happen. Now, we don't know that's going to happen right now. There is no regulation that is forcing console manufacturers to do the same thing that's happening on smartphones. But what's the difference? There's very little difference. People will point out a difference, but I think as far as regulators are concerned, there isn't one. So I think Microsoft's thinking about that future, wanting to be ready for it, and being ready for it means like, hey, if the Microsoft gaming app of the gaming store available on PlayStation, why wouldn't I be able to buy Halo on there? So yeah, I think you're right. It's weird, but that's the future they're heading toward. Now, do you think this is the answer to what ails Microsoft currently?
I think we'll be able to more accurately discuss that one when they start putting games out. Like 25 for Microsoft is going to be, according to the Summer Game Fest presentation we had this year, like allegedly a lot of bangers coming out for them, like a lot of titles that we've been waiting for a very long time. I don't know. Microsoft has been very bullish about acquisitions. They are obviously still always looking around for acquisitions and like bringing everyone onto the stable. But I think in terms of the console war, the console race, like I think they are seeing a different path. And like, I'm really interested to see how it plays off for them. Like they are making these really long plays. They're making these investments, but then at the same time, the human cost, they're laying off thousands of people. So, and yeah, all of Bethesda, ZeniMax is on strike today.
Nope.
So I don't know. I'm really interested to see where it goes. I think one of the things that's going to be strange to decouple is the tribalism that everyone, like our generation, kind of grew up with, because you were like a Dreamcast or a PlayStation or like an Xbox. Like you were defined by the console that you have. And so moving into this world where everyone is able to play everything is going to be really interesting. And some people will really embrace that and be excited about the fact that, hey, I can just buy one box and have everything. And then some people are going to be clinging on to the old ways.
Yep. Just fill in a little bit there from Shannon Lau at Inverse. Hundreds of Bethesda video game workers who work on titles like Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls are going on strike across the country. Workers in Maryland and Texas are walking off the job, claiming that the company has failed to address their remote work concerns at the bargaining table and has begun outsourcing quality assurance work without the union's agreement. That's they unionized like in the last year, right? They it
was pretty recent.
It was pretty recent, but it was the one that was like, oh man, that's the like wall-to-wall union over there that they have at Bethesda. That's new, and they are already showing their power. So hopefully they're able to get what they want there. The remote work thing there is something that really sticks in my craw, because that is such a clear thing of, you could see how these executives are thinking. It's like, this isn't like a new way to treat workers right. This is a new lever we can pull when it's time to reduce our headcount. We no longer have to fire people. All we have to do is say mandated return to office, and we know, but just by we know the math, that when we pull that lever, we will lose 10% of people who don't want to make that change. And so we just save money, and there we go. We wash, and it's like, that you cannot treat that way. These are people's lives, people building their lives around this thing. This is not some new magical thing you could do to save costs. But they're going to keep treating that way until it gets enshrined either through union contracts or labor laws, which in the United States, good fucking luck. So
they fucking suck. Oh my god.
Yes. Right. Go for it. Get what's yours, Bethesda workers. Solidarity with y'all. I think that God, I forget what we were going to talk about. Oh yes, the games coming to other platforms. Yeah. Yep. They look at Call of Duty, Black Ops 6. That was one, like, there was so much talk. Will it be exclusive to Xbox? Looking at what Black Ops 6 has done, that's just an absurd notion at this point. That would be a completely baffling world to be in, where Black Ops 6 came out and it's just this, it's a bigger success than Call of Duty's had in a very long time, if not ever. And there's just no world in which they kind of go back from this. Hey, these games are everywhere. And it's like when you have something like this, you're like, we should try to replicate what Black Ops 6 is with more games. And part of that is you could play that game anywhere. So that's why people continue to show up for it. So,
yeah. What did Matt Piscatella call it? I think he was like, the results are in for Black Ops 6 and they're bonkers or something. Yeah,
bonkers. Yes, it is. Like the engagement numbers are completely off the charts. And I think he's going to have the Circana US sales results here in the next 2 weeks.
You just don't hear the word bonkers so much anymore. I love that that's what he pulled out for this.
When I remember when all the guys left Joystick to go start Polygon, they did a PAX panel, and I was there for it, and they were like, they hadn't announced the name of Polygon yet, and they're like, we registered bonkers.com, and Justin McElroy was very much like, I want it to be bonkers.com, I keep pushing for that, and they ended up going with Polygon instead of bonkers.com. Now I think bonkers.com.
I think you should have bonkers.com.
Bonkers.com is very good.
I think I've seen that panel.
Yeah. It was.
Have you ever gone back and watched the first ever Polygon video where they're all walking on the streets of New York?
Yeah, and Arthur Geese is getting a tattoo, right? Is that shout out to Arthur. Yeah,
I remember watching that.
Is that still available somewhere? Because I feel like I can't. Okay, send it to me. I want to watch it again. Yeah, good time. All right, I am going to get to the poll question. Let's do that. Let's see here. I've got it already ready to go. Okay. Which game are you most looking forward to for the rest of the year? Stalker 2, Dragon Quest III HD 2D, Indiana Jones, or Rise of the Golden Idol? Rise of the Golden Idol got 9%.
What?
Last place.
People don't have taste.
People don't have taste. Lucy, have you been playing it?
Yes. It's fucking incredible.
Shit, does it rule. It's so good.
Oh my God, it rocks.
I'm just, I'm at a point with it where every time I pick it up and look at it again, like I am flooded with dopamine. I'm like, we're back in it. Oh my God, this is so exciting. A new mystery. I just get happy every time I go to play it again. It's so good.
It's like punch in the air.
Yeah. Dan beat it last night, and he was running through it. We talked about it on the Bombcast yesterday, everybody. So definitely check that out.
The music in it is great because it's obviously bringing the story up to the 70s. So there were some good solid beats.
And it's
creepy beats.
Yep. I just love the way it looks. God, what a cool thing. Okay, I think I'm finishing the drive-in thing right now. That's the mission I was on. So I have the next mission after that I'm getting into now.
The drive. You're still pretty
early. I'm in chapter 2. Yes, I haven't had a lot of time for it, but I am loving it. Okay, so the results from this: Rise of the Golden Idol 9%. In third place, Dragon Quest III HD 2D with 26%. I'm looking forward to that. That's out pretty soon. Although Stalker 2 at 31% also out soon. And then 34% say Indiana Jones.
That was out. coming out.
I'm looking forward to all of
that'll
these.
be my Christmas game.
Yes.
I'm excited. I am genuinely excited for Indiana Jones, even though I'm not an Indiana Jones fan.
Sure. Yeah.
I do. I love machine games. So.
Yep. Machine games. That gameplay reveal trailer definitely looked like, or the gameplay deep dive, I should say. They'd done a reveal previously. The deep dive, it was like 15 minutes showing stuff off. I'm looking like, this looks like a game that was made by people that worked on Chronicles of Riddick. And it really, it is. So I'm like, I want to play this game very bad. I'm really looking forward to it at this point. But yeah, I'll try all these. Boy, I wish I would have made time for Stalker 1 this year. I always intended to play that
I've
game.
never played it.
Yeah, I think it would be my shit too. So yeah, we'll see. Okay. Yep, that's the result of that poll. We got a new poll question that I'll get to here in a second. Before we do, Lucy James, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, all that good stuff.
Well, you can find me in about 3 hours' time when we return to Kong Blight Island.
Blight Club returns.
What's the name of this game?
It's
Rise of Kong.
Skull Island Rise of Kong. I believe it took me a long time to commit that to memory.
I know. I'm very excited to get back into it. I am ready to face the same enemies over and over and over again.
You made real proggies last time. You made real proggies.
I made a lot of proggies for shoot.
For shoot, you made proggies.
For shoot, I made proggies.
Perfect. No notes.
Thank you. So yeah, doing that, and then what else am I doing this week? Prepping for Game Awards stuff. Please be excited.
Yep, lots of meetings still. I'm out next week, so it's like everyone knows that we do have the GB at night, the night before the Game Awards. Lucy, you'll be on that last segment, hanging out with us. It's gonna be a good time. Really looking forward to that. And I have the assistant that helped out last time is helping me schedule this time, which has just been saving me from an ulcer. It's been really good.
People are messaging me asking to come, by the way.
Yeah.
Like some cool people. So
yeah, just loop me in. I love having cool, especially cool friends of yours. That'd be great. Let's make it happen, and we'll get that going. Best to do that. Is
Wendy helping out?
Wendy is helping out. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she is, and she's crushing it.
Great.
And so. So yeah, if again, I mentioned this last time and it worked, but any developers that you think you might be in LA around that time, or if you're PR and you represent developers, reach out to me. We'll see if we can make something happen. We don't have a ton of spots. We're just doing the one night, so it's going to fill up fast.
Oh, there are some people who are just wanting to hang out.
Oh, for sure, yes, and you are more than welcome to do that. It's going to be a fun time. We've done it at the office now a bunch of times, and it's been great every time. It's actually not a bad hangout spot.
No one's thrown up everywhere. We've never had that. We never had anyone throw up or ruin anything, which is nice. Good.
It's nice. Good. Everyone keeps their shit together. It's good to see.
Nikki just said I can fix that.
Yeah, let's go. I played Call of Duty with Nikki last night. That was fun. We finished my other podcast, and me and the boys from the podcast were hanging out, and then Nikki just joined, and we played for like an hour. It was a good time. All right, new poll question. Do you think the next Halo release on a PlayStation will release on a PlayStation as well as Xbox?
Yes.
Fix that, Sean or Jan, whoever posts that. I didn't write that well. Yes or no are your options. Looking forward to the results of that, which we will talk about on Game S Mornings here on Giant Bomb tomorrow. Speaking of Giant Bomb, as Lucy mentioned, tune in for Blight Club later today. We'll get some other fun stuff on the website. I'm going to try to play some games here or there. We'll see. And again, out next week, going to try to make the most of this week. But Game S Mornings will return for the rest of the week, so look out for that. Anything else we should mention? I can't think of anything else, so let's get out of here. Lucy James, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games. I really appreciate it.
Oh, so it's always a highlight of my week.
Yep, and there's to confirm, yes, Blight Club, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's right.
Yep.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for coming in late as we got a late start here, but we did great. I think we did a good episode. So until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself and goodbye. Okay, pulled the plug on YouTube.